Call the meeting to order. This is the November 19th meeting of the Frankfurt Plant Board. Madam Secretary, you want to call the roll?
Member Hale? Here. Member Cuban?
Here.
Member Mason?
Here.
Member Snyder?
Here.
We got a quorum. Next item is item 1.1, consider and approve minutes for the October 15th board meeting and October 22nd special board meeting. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Anybody have any problems, questions, corrections? Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Any objection? Do we need to call the roll or just adopt by voice? Okay. Okay. Without objection, adopted. Action item financials. Mr. Denton?
Yes, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'd like to turn to page 21 of our board packet where we would start with a statement of net position, looking as where we stood as of October 31st, 2019. I'd like to look at first our total assets. If you look at line 65, total assets of just over $183 million. Compared to where we were a year ago, we're up $2.4 million in assets, which is, that's the right direction to be going in that metric. As you can see, property, plant, and equipment compose 63% of our total assets, which is very common for a heavy infrastructure company like municipal utility. Looking at, moving on to liabilities.
Just real quick, David, on what's the big swing in investments?
So, as you will note, if you were to compare lines 5 and 10, our cash and equivalents and investments, we're up about $10 million, I should say $7 million from a year ago. We have got rates set to cover our operating expenses, debt service, and infrastructure improvements. We have rates are set to cover those things. If you look at our income statement, we're down about 4% from a prior year in our operating and maintenance expense. So that's one item. Also, in some of the large projects, we've got 3 large projects in each of our divisions that we're looking to move forward with, and some of those have not progressed as far as.
So it's cash flow and timing?
Cash flow and timing.
Okay.
Is absolutely what's going on there.
Okay. I'm sorry, go on.
So we've decided to move into investments to make sure we capitalize on getting interest income. On our liabilities, our accounts payable, customer deposits, loans, and pensions, total liabilities just over $90 million for as of October 31st. You can see that's down $8.9 million from a year ago, which is another way to be moving in the right direction with a reduction in liabilities. You take your net assets minus your liabilities, giving you your net position of just under $93 million for the period. Something good to point out is line 155. When you see an increase in unrestricted net assets or net position, that's always a good sign that we're moving in the right direction. So total liabilities and net position, line 165, of just over $183 million. I'd be glad to answer any questions on that. If not, I'd like to move to page 22, our cash and investment schedule. We prepare and present this to the board each month. Well, I'm just going to go right to line 80, looking at our restricted and unrestricted cash as of October 31st, just over $16.7 million. And on line 140, our restricted and unrestricted investments, just over $25.2 million for the period, which tie back to that balance sheet we just looked at. Look at, if we could, move over to page 23, just give you an update of where we are on our bonds, leases, and notes payable. These principal, or I should say debt service payments, usually occur in June and December, so there was no actual payments made in the month of October. So we are sitting at $36.1 million in total bonds, leases, and loans as of October 31st. But we are definitely trending downward, which is a good thing. And I'd like to briefly talk, I'd like to move over to page 25, looking our how we were as far as our financial performance for the first 4 months of this fiscal year. So through the first 4 months ending October 31st, our statement of revenue, expense, and change in net position. Looking at line 20, you can see we're just over $35.2 million in total revenue. Looking at our operating expenses, line 50, just over $22.5 million, bringing our gross contribution to just over $12.6 million. When you take out general and admin expenses of just under $7.8, plus other income, you have net contribution on line 365 of just over $5.5 million. As I mentioned before, we've kept cost contained through the first 4 months, which is 4% below a year ago, and our revenue is held, so that's why we're have performed well through the 4 months. I'd be glad to answer any questions you may have on these or any of the other documents in your board packet.
Anyone on the board have any questions for David? I need a motion to accept the financials. Second?
Second.
Any objections? Adopt. Okay, next one is public comment. Anybody here signed up or wants to speak? Okay. Website customer comments? You have something, Adam, you wanna?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Saw him getting up, I thought, he's gonna come up and make a speech. Are all the website comments were addressed and?
Yes.
Okay. Next item is telecommunications under item 5. Is it just? Didn't want to throw your timing off there.
Chairman, member of the board, members of the board. The cable report starts on page 95 of your board package. The first page of the report is customer penetrations for the month of October. Broadband security and VOD are down a little bit based on budget, but still month over month increases. The next page of the report is trouble call for the month of October, and trouble call is down versus this same time last year. So that's always a good sign. And basically it's been down every month for this time period for at least the last 7 or 8 months. So that's always a good sign that we're working less trouble. The final 2 pages of the report are the outages for the month of October, and we had 1 outage actually, and it was a broken piece of cable over in Indian Hills area.
Do you attribute the reduction in trouble calls to just coincidence or just
No, I
lucky
think-
this time or something?
No, I really think that, you get to the point where you catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have the same number of customers, and so I think you eventually get to the point where you catch up. The other thing is we did the active upgrade 2 years ago, and I think that has helped a lot. That has stabilized a lot of issues that we had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, and, working on them as they come. So, of course, I say that next month. But I think we're going in the right direction.
Okay.
So.
Any questions for Adam? Okay, next item, customer service.
Good evening, members of the board. The service reports are on pages 99 and 100 of your board packet. We had a little over 4,600 phone calls this month, 1,400 walk-ins approximately, and 4,800 cashier transactions. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Compare as normal, is this a busier month, about the same?
The numbers are about the same as they are every month. One thing I'd like to point out is that our wait times are trending down, which is our goal, and we actually hit a lower number than normal for those, so we're excited about that.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes, sir.
John?
You mentioned the wait times going in. Do you have an ultimate goal for what you want those to be?
I believe that Mr. Denton and Mr. Zing's goal is a minute or less. It's a big goal because we have 7 lines of service, but we're definitely trending in that direction. So. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you. Electric?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the board, as you turn to page 101, you'll see that our SAIDI numbers for the month of October is 73.352. On page 102 will be your pie chart, which shows your percentages of each different classification of an outage. Page 103 will actually show you the numbers for each one of those classifications. We had a total of 28 outages for the month of October. And on page 104, you will see that these are the top 10 outages for the month. We had a total of 216 customers affected. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, sir. SEPA?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and Board. The SEPA report is on page 105 of your packet, 105, 6, and 7. And you'll notice on 105 for the month of September, again, we're a couple months behind on these information when we get it from SEPA, but we cleared $63,872 for the month of September. So that gives our calendar year total to $246,786 in the black. So that is good. We're happy to see that. Certainly, if you look at the graph on 106, you will see that things started to turn positive once we started the KYMEA contract, and these we moved our power supply of SEPA into KYMEA, and we were able to realize capacity value. So that has turned that positive.
And these numbers are about what you expected?
Yes, sir. That's what we budgeted.
Okay.
If you look at 107, you will see the total 23-year total for SEPA credits. And you can see over the last few years with some of the issues with the Wolf Creek Dam and the work they were doing, it was down. So things are starting to get better. And then this year jumps up significantly again due to the KYMEA change. So anyway, that's our report. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Any questions for Ben? Okay, thank you, sir. Kimi?
KYMEA, Mr. Chairman and Board, and the KYMEA actually, everything moving to according to plan, and continue to improve the financial position by the KYMEA itself since we start operation May 1st. And I give you example. In the beginning, KYMEA decided to use a line credit from the bank to support their cash flow, $9 million. So after 4 months operation, they already pay off those. So they are continuing to improve their position. I just wanted to update for the board.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for Gary? Okay. Next, safety.
I have a couple of OSHA recordables to report this month. We had a water employee who was struck in the forehead with a discharge hose and had to get some stitches, but there was no lost time associated with the accident. And then a water treatment plant employee also got struck by the end of a fire hose coupling, and he had a concussion and had to be off work for a few days. So
Is he doing okay now?
he is.
Okay.
He's back to work. And then we did have one vehicle accident where a meter reader struck a tree while they were turning into a driveway with minor damage to the vehicle.
Is the employee okay?
He was
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Question? Water distribution?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Water distribution report can be found on pages 111 through 113. We had 3 main breaks and 2 outages. And then to update everybody on East Main, the water department has completed their repairs on phase 1. We're trying to work out with the contractor there as far as removing our traffic control, but we're done with the upper part. So. And then we'll move on after the sewer board is complete with their work, and the gas company will be replacing some line from Broadway to Ann Street, but that'll be later on in the wintertime. So,
Just out of curiosity, several weeks ago, I'm in the Frankfurt Optimist Club, and Chuck Knowles made a presentation on the Tiger Grant, and I know we're going to do quite a bit on that project.
yes.
When will that all begin?
We're supposed to start in the spring. That's still that timing, and this is considered participating in the Tiger Grant. They included these shovel-ready projects. We had already planned on East Main, so they included that money that we had for that project as part of the participation for the Tiger Grant. And then Second Street in itself is supposed to start in the spring, but that's really dependent on when the final design is ready as to when we take off with that. We put money in the budget for it, starting in the spring and then continuing on next year. So we'll see how that timing works out.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Water treatment?
Good evening, Board. The water treatment plant report is on page 115 in your board packet. October again saw an increase in production at the plant. We treated 283 million gallons of water for the month, averaging just over 9 million gallons of water a day. Thanks to some rainfall in October, the flow in the river did increase slightly. It averaged about 1,200 cubic feet per second, which is about 760 million gallons of water a day passing the intake. As I mentioned, we had rain. October is typically the driest month of the year, but we had almost 9 inches of rain in October. 8 inches of that came in about a 5-day spurt across the month. Other than that, the plant is running well, and if there's any questions, be happy to answer.
Any questions? Thank you. Knock?
Best for last. Good evening. The Network Operations Center, for the month of October, we took just over 2,000 phone calls, helped customers. 2278 was our number. And for our utility locates, in October, we did 585, down just a little bit from the previous months, which is just probably due to the weather and the season, and as things wind down a bit and construction projects probably back off a bit for fall. That probably reflects that. But still, so far this year, we've done 5,804 locates across 3 utilities. It's just over 17,000. So still, quite a bit of marking and quite a bit of projects still going on, and obviously several larger projects are still going throughout the winter. So probably stay busy. That's just the basic summary. Unless you have any questions I can answer, I'll be happy to.
Any questions?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, down to item 6.1, consider stop-loss coverage and plan changes for the 2020 Employee Health Plan. Michelle?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Staff recommends that the board consider approving renewal with Pan American for the specific and aggregate stop-loss coverage for the 2020 FPB Employee Health Plan year. Our consultant, Cheryl Morgan, shopped around for competitive pricing with 11 stop-loss carriers and 7 responded. Pan American was the best overall option, as well as they offered a reduction in our annual specific premium from the 2019 plan year. In addition, staff also asked the board to consider several health plan changes effective January 1st, 2020. The first recommendation is to add teledoc services. Teledoc services provides board-certified physicians via phone and video anytime, anywhere at 0 cost to our health plan members. Teledoc services can be used for minor conditions such as colds, pink eye, short-term prescription refills, as well as teledoc services can be a convenience to use while you're on vacation. Our second recommendation we ask the board to consider is 0 co-payments and deductibles for on-site visits at the Little Clinic. The Little Clinics are clinics located in Kroger's. They are open 7 days a week with extended hours. That too can also be a convenience for our plan members.
What was the copay before, do you know?
Whatever, if you were on, it depended on what plan you were
Plan, yeah.
on. If you were on one of our PPO plans, it would have been $20. And if you were on one of our, what we call CDHP plan, which stands for Consumer Driven Health Plan, it would have been subject to the deductible.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Lastly, staff asked board to consider doubling prescription co-payment tiers at Walgreens and Rite Aid pharmacies. These pharmacies currently have the highest ingredient costs and provide the lowest drug rebates to our plan. So in addition, if we do that, plan members will still have the current copay structure with Kroger's, Myers, Walmart's, as well as CVS pharmacies. The CVS pharmacies also offer 24-hour services. So we do have a CVS pharmacy here with a 24-hour service, which is similar to our Walgreens if we double the co-payment tier with them. Yeah.
But employees would still have access, employees could still use Walgreens and Rite Aid.
Yes.
They just pay the higher copay.
Correct.
Where's our biggest, where are most of our employees? What do most of our employees use?
Kroger's is number 1, Walgreens is number 2, and Walmart is number 3.
Okay.
You have any questions? Any more questions?
John?
Michelle, the Little Clinic, is that is offering that, is that a way to cut down on emergency room visits or to, access that folks can get to the doctor? Is there a thought process behind offering that as zero copay?
One is an incentive to employees to incentivize them to go. Also, the little clinic usually to the plan costs less than the general practitioners or the regular physicians. Yeah.
And make sure I understand, Nichelle, as I understand it, Walgreens and Rite Aid, through, our health provider, had the option to negotiate the lower prices the same as everybody else, but they did not come down on the price. Is that correct?
We don't negotiate directly with them. That structure is based at a higher level.
Okay.
So that's just their pricing for their ingredient costs.
But they were aware that their pricing was gonna, they were aware that their pricing was higher than the others?
I'm not for sure.
Okay. But if we don't do that option, then we lose some of the discounts we're getting in the plan. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Any other questions?
Okay. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted.
Thank you.
And you might look in front of you. David, do you want to mention quickly the handouts that you passed out on our healthcare costs?
Sure.
You've got a graph in front of you.
Just showing since 2010, looking through actual fiscal year 19 that ended June 30, 2019. You can see we've kept in a pretty tight range over that period of time. I believe there'd be a lot of employers that would love to be able to have the same results. When you look at it, we actually 2019's these costs that you see are net of our employee contributions. So these are our health insurance, dental, vision, less employee contributions. That we actually 2019 costs were actually below 2013. So we've happened in a narrow range there between 2.3 and 2.5 million dollars. It's worth noting we have a list and summary of all the different changes that have been suggested and the board's approved to make changes to the plan to keep cost in check. So I think this is attributes to good management and of the plan to be able to keep these costs down. I believe it's in 2018 we did ask for employees to contribute more, so there's also some of that factored in as well as more employee contributions offsetting the company cost. So I just thought you could see we finished at just over it's around 2.2 million in total costs last year, and that's what we're shooting for and budgeted for this next year as well. So I just think it's a positive thing to look at managing the plan and also thankfully keeping our employees healthy.
Yeah. Michelle, you all done a good job. Item 6.2, consider approving a professional service agreement with Hazen and Sawyer in the amount of $41,378 for preliminary engineering related to the ammonia and sulfuric feed improvements project at the water treatment plant. Julie?
Yes, excuse me, good evening again. The water treatment plant currently uses gas ammonia and liquid sulfuric acid in the treatment of the water. In an effort to replace the aging equipment, as well as to continue implementing some safety measures at the water treatment plant, a project to eliminate the gaseous ammonia and replace with the liquid ammonia feed system is being recommended. In addition, the sulfuric acid feed system is in need of redundancy and some upgrades to the bulk chemical tank. A request for qualifications was sent to 7 engineering firms and 3 responses were received. A Frankfort Plant Board Selection Committee reviewed the statements of qualification, conducted interviews, and is recommending Hazen and Sawyer to provide the professional services related to this project. As a matter of course, an agreement together with the scope of engineering services has been prepared and is included in the board packet for your review. Under the proposal, Hazen and Sawyer will perform preliminary services to assist in the selection and siting of a new liquid ammonia feed system, the sulfuric acid feed improvements, and provide a preliminary engineering report with budgetary construction cost for submittal to the Division of Water for approval. The fiscal year 20 budget included $45,000 for engineering cost, and the fiscal year 21 budget includes right now $300,000 for construction of the project. The fiscal year 21 budget numbers will be adjusted based on the results of the preliminary engineering study. The updated budget numbers will include not only the cost for the engineering services, but the field investigations, design, the bid phase assistant, contract administration, and construction. So the plant and engineering staff recommends that the board approve the agreement with Hazen and Sawyer, contingent upon receipt of insurance requirements. The attached agreement has been reviewed and approved by the staff attorney. Happy to answer any questions.
Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. 6.3, Hazen Standard Prime Agreement, FPB, Water Treatment Plant Ammonia, approval of bid invitation 1685, contract labor for fiber optic cable construction and splicing phase 1 to cable services in the amount not to exceed $700,000. Adam?
This goes back to what David was talking about earlier, some of those capital projects we're trying to start and spend a little money. Staff recommends bid invitation 1685, contract labor for fiber optic cable construction and splicing phase 1 to custom cable services. This invitation was publicly issued September 10th, 2019 and was advertised. We sent it to 4 potential bidders. 2 of the bidders responded. We got a bid from Custom Cable Service and Electricom. Being the only companies that submitted a proposal, Custom Cable was the lowest bidder and met all the requirements and bid specification. We have used Custom Cable for years in different projects. They actually were involved in the active upgrade project. This project is budgeted this year. It's page 15, line 60. Staff attorney has reviewed the agreement and needs his approval. Is there any questions?
Do you have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 6.4, consider approval of bid invitation 1686, contract labor for cable fiber optic cable construction and splicing future Greenfield areas to custom cable services in an amount not to exceed $235,000.
This is similar to the one above. This is a separate project, Greenfield areas, and same situation. We sent the bid out. We had 2 respond. Custom Cable were the lowest bid and met the qualifications. And as well, this project is in the this fiscal year's budget.
Any questions for Adam?
I just have one question.
Yeah.
Adam, look at these unit bid tabs. There seems a huge difference between these 2 bidders.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention the tabs and the contracts and the bid brackets. The big difference is the Electricom. They're an electrical contractor.
Okay.
Custom Cable is pretty much strictly
Just this
telecom,
kind,
telephone, cable, and that's the big difference.
Okay.
So,
Okay. All right.
which is good.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted?
Thank you.
Thank you. 6.5, consider award of bid invitation 1688 for the purchase and transfer of IP resources to Hilco Streambank in the amount of $309,657.60. Jennifer.
Good evening, members of the board. Bid invitation 1688 for the purchase and transfer of additional IP address resources needed to provide internet service. These services include residential and business cable modem service, dedicated metro Ethernet service, and future high-capacity internet service offerings. The bid invitation was sent to 14 qualified vendors. We received 2 responses. After reviewing all bids, staff recommends awarding to Hilco Streambank as they are the lowest bidder meeting specifications. I believe the tab sheet was handed out, maybe emailed earlier and handed out. We opened that this morning. And that's, if you have any questions, I can try to help you.
What happens if we don't purchase these?
Casey Jones can ask that.
Okay, Casey.
I just know how much it's gonna cost.
Essentially, if we don't purchase, we have to cut back on services.
Okay.
We won't be able to offer certain services.
So this is something we need to do.
Yeah.
And was this a budget item, David, or is this,
Yeah.
Yes, sir, this is included in the telecom budget.
okay,
It's in the same line item as the last two items were, so
Okay.
it's all combined into one project.
any other questions? You have a motion? And a second? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 6.6, consider approving Fox Regional Sports Network amendments, Fox Broadcasting Network License Agreement, and Fox Cable Agreement. Harvey?
Hello, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Just to give you guys a little bit of background on these agreements, back in March, 21st Century Fox completed the sale of a majority of its assets to the Walt Disney Company in a transaction valued at over $52 billion. Some Fox properties were not included in that deal. Big Ten Network, Fox Broadcasting Company, Fox News, Fox Business, and Fox Sports 1 and 2 were spun off to the downsized Fox Corporation. There were also 20 or so regional sports networks that were sold to Disney/ESPN, and ESPN was forced to sell them off by the FTC or the DOJ, I'm not sure. The ultimate buyer of those properties was Sinclair Broadcast Group. Disney ESPN kept FX, FXX, FXM, Nat Geo, and Nat Geo Wild. So all that brings us to the agreements before you tonight. The first is a direct amendment for the Fox Sports Ohio and Big Ten Network and Fox College Sports. That is a term through December 31st, 2023. It also covers TV Everywhere and VOD rights. It is essentially just an extension of our existing agreements. There's no reset on the rates, just an annual 4% increase on each network. I think they just essentially wanted to lock these down for a little while until they can figure out, what they have, I think, honestly, with Sinclair. Second is the Fox Broadcasting Network License Agreement. That is a direct agreement with a term through December 31st of 2022. This is for our Fox Broadcast Video on Demand content, which is among the most viewed content on our VOD platform. It represents a license fee increase of 16% in 2020 and then 7% in the 2 years afterwards. And then finally, the Fox Cable Agreement is an NCTC agreement. It's a Fox Cable agreement with Disney ESPN Media Networks for the Fox networks that they acquired. FX, FXX, FXM, Nat Geo, and Nat Geo Wild. Essentially, they are making this coterminous with our existing ESPN agreement, which is July 31st, 2021. And there are no resets. The basically just pushes these out with the existing annual increases between 3.5% and 8%, depending on the network. All these increases were budgeted and anticipated. A lot of them are actually well below what we had budgeted because we anticipated significant, resets on the renewals. So, Cable Advisory Committee and staff recommend that the board approve these amendments and agreements. The staff attorney has reviewed them and they meet with his approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Will a customer out there see any changes or anything as a result of this?
No, this just maintains status quo with all these networks.
The Fox Broadcast VOD,
Yes, sir.
that has nothing to do with the retransmission of, was it DKY out of?
So DKY, right. Well, it has a little bit in that we, or the plant board needs to maintain a valid retransmission consent agreement with a Fox affiliate in order to continue to carry that VOD content.
Any other questions? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted. 6.7, consider approval of the POP network agreement. Harvey?
The Cable Advisory Committee and staff recommend the board approve the POP network agreement. This is a direct agreement with a term through August 31st of 2022. Our current agreement for carriage of POP exists with their previous owner, TV Guide Network, which was executed back in 2007. I had to dig pretty deep in the archives to find that that board action. They sunset their scrolling guide channel this past summer, and at the same time they asked that we refresh our agreement. POP is on Classic Cable Channel 61 and HD on 561. The renewal is actually a decrease in rate, 30% in this first year, and then annual increases of the CPI or 5%. The increases were less than what was budgeted. And the staff attorney has reviewed this agreement and it meets with his approval. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted. 6.8. You're on a roll, Harvey. Consider accepting minutes from the Cable Advisory Committee special meeting of September 11th, 2019.
Those are included for your review or your acceptance starting on page 231.
And that's just a simple motion to accept them, right?
Exactly.
So I need a motion? Second? All those in favor?
Yep.
Opposed? We've accepted the minutes. 6.9, consider appointment of Mr. Larry Totten to the Cable Advisory Committee.
All right, last one. Staff recommends the board appoint Mr. Larry Totten to the Cable Advisory Committee with the term beginning November 20th, 2019 through October 31st, 2022. The appointment is needed to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of Mr. John Paul's term. Staff advertised this opening in the State Journal on around 10, the FPB website, and the Cable 10 bulletin board. We disseminated that over a 6-week period from September 21st through October 31st. We received 2 applications for the position. Mr. Totten, who's here tonight, has been attending Cable Advisory Committee meetings regularly for the past year and has expressed an interest in the position and eagerness to assist FPB in their cable TV decisions. A copy of his resume is included for your review. Staff would also like to recognize Mr. Paul's service to the Cable Advisory Committee. He served from 2013 until just a couple months ago. We appreciate his service and his contribution to FPB in this community.
I might just add for the record, I see Mr. Totten every month at the pension oversight meeting, and I had no involvement in him selection here, but he and I sit through the same legislative committee meeting every month, so I'm familiar with him, and he does a good job. So, anybody have any questions for Larry? Okay, do you have a motion to appoint?
Second.
Any discussion? You want to give up and give a big speech, Larry, acceptance or anything, or just do good? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
6.10, Mr. Denton, consider retaining Crowe LLP to conduct the 2019-20 financial statement audit for a fee of $36,500.
Yes, sir. We are asking the board to approve an engagement letter with Crowe to do our audit for this current year we're in, the 2019-20 fiscal year, ending June 30, 2020. As stated in the motion, the cost of this engagement is $36,500. This would be our 4th audit with Crowe. We typically go 5 years and then rebid with external accounting firms. Statutes that create FPB do require we have an annual audit, and we're just asking for your approval.
And there's a slight difference between what we had budgeted and what the cost is, and that's no problem?
No, sir, it's not. We originally thought could have had a single audit based on federal funds accepted for our Kentucky Infrastructure Authority notes, which we haven't. If that cost was included, it would be close to the $36,500. But
okay.
No issues here. I feel comfortable with the engagement. Crowe's been good to work with and has been very timely and efficient.
Any questions, David? Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Approved. Item 6.12, consider approval of mutual non-disclosure agreement with the University of Kentucky. Mr. General Manager? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Dinsmore Shohl, I'm sorry. 6.11, consider approval of Dinsmore Shohl LLP engagement letter for bond counsel services. Mr. Denton.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mark Franklin has been our bond counsel for some time. He was at Stolkeen and Ogden. Their municipal bond department had, through natural attrition, kind of had dwindled down. He has moved over to Dinsmore, where they have significant resources. Would like to continue our relationship with Mr. Franklin and are asking the board to approve this engagement letter. We don't plan to issue revenue bonds anytime in the near future. We do occasionally need advice and counsel from Mr. Franklin as far as tax compliance and questions related to our existing electric and water revenue bonds. So we're just asking to approve this engagement. It would be no monies asked at this time. If we do have something we need from Mr. Franklin, it would be just on an as-needed basis with him. This would be a standing agreement that allows them to open up us as a client, transfer files from the prior firm, and just get us started in that with that relationship.
And we've been using this attorney for some time.
We have. They're familiar with all of our current taxes and financings, which I think that's a nice benefit.
Any questions, David, about this?
Yes. Oh, is the contract with the attorney or with the firm?
It's with the firm.
So does it have to be, since you're changing, does it have to be bid or anything?
It's a professional service, so it is not required to be bid. We can choose any bond counsel which we would like. Similar to our auditors, same thing. We did it as I think it was 4 years ago. We did bid the audit just as give everyone opportunity to submit and make sure we get the lowest cost.
So this attorney was selected based on a competitive bid previously?
I cannot speak to that.
Like I said 4 years ago, we did a...
That was on the audit. That was an example on the audit.
Okay.
We have not bid out a bond counsel. As I mentioned, I think there's value to having Mr. Franklin's familiar with our existing financing. We reach out to him on an as-needed basis. So you're looking at an hourly rate versus the work you've asked to complete. We could always, if the board would like to go that direction, we certainly could look at new bond counsel. It's the board's pleasure with that.
No, I really just had a question. If the law says you can do that, I'm fine with
Okay,
that.
yeah. Our procurement policy, and I believe we're good with that procedure.
Any other questions? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Adopted. Now.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Now, 6.12.
Plan Board and University of Kentucky are in discussing regarding working together with University of Kentucky Electrical and Engineering Department for the purpose of sharing the research and data. UK has requested Plan Board execute a test non-disclosure agreement. So we would like to recommend, because we definitely would like either support our local engineer school, or we can potentially benefit their research result.
And there's no cost to this, and
There's
no
a
project's currently underway or whatever?
No cost.
Okay.
This is not any commitment. This is only the disclosure agreement.
So if we decide to
Share
do something, or
data.
they want to do something, we'd have the ability to do it?
Yes, we can, if they need a research, share using our data. That's
Okay.
basically the purpose
Okay.
agreement.
And does it cover for 5 years? I read like a 5-year term and a 3-year
Yes.
term.
Yes, it's that's. I mean, I can't answer it. I have to check that.
Yeah, I think it's 5 for.
Yes.
I think it's under 3,
Yeah.
under section 3.
That's right. It's a 5 years.
Yeah, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's 5 years.
Okay. You okay, Dawn?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Do you have a motion?
Make the motion.
A second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7, General Manager comments?
Okay, I do want to have one thing report to the board. We had a discussion with North Carolina's State University Clean Energy Technology Center. They had a DOE project can help municipal to do the technical design, include economic technical modeling, program design, demand aggregation. They can even help doing the procurement. So they are expert on the community solar project, and there's no cost to us. So we had to discuss in quite a while. If you don't have any issue, I plan to sign the letter. Basically, the commitment is ask them to help us, but there's no cost for us.
I think everybody's got the letter in front of us.
Yes.
And this is, you remember, we talked about this at the last meeting.
Yes.
And we asked Gary and Vint to go back and look at it and come back to us with either at this meeting or in December with a recommendation on how to proceed. So
Yes.
this is your all's recommendation on the next step.
That's right. I mean, I just want to report to the board. I plan to sign the letter, give it to them if you don't have any concern.
I don't
Yes.
think we have to take a vote or anything, just
No, because
just
there's
information
no-
unless somebody's got a problem.
There's no commitment,
Right.
really, monetary or anything from us. Yes.
Is everybody okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Uh,
Anything else?
I have,
Got a couple things.
Okay.
On his behalf. Y'all ready to be dazzled? Okay, hang on to your seats. A couple things I want to report is we have wrapped up our United Way drive, and FPB employees have once again gone above and beyond. And we went over this year's goal. It was set for 15,000, and we raised $15,426.50.
And what was it last year? We raised 11-1.
11-1. So yay, and
Good
thank
job.
you, Kathy Jennings,
Yeah.
for getting that together. Staying on top of it. Another thing that FBB employees have done recently is that we pitched in to put together some goodie boxes for two military servicemen who are overseas, and they're family members of two of our FPB employees. So we took up some donations, we went shopping, and put together two large boxes of beef jerky, socks, peanut butter, just something just to remind them of home and to show our appreciation for their service, and just kind of from their FPB family. So we were very excited to do that, and we hope they're excited when they get it.
Good job.
Just kind of a Christmas.
Thank you.
Now, I just want to show you a couple of things. We participated in the Chamber of Commerce. They had it was called Impact, which is their educational program. And it's just exposing our young students to local career options and hoping to kind of make them realize some opportunities that are local here that, once they get out of school, that are opportunities that where they don't have to go away somewhere to have a job, jobs that are available here in the community. We were pleased to participate in the Impact experience, and it was a hands-on learning expo, and it was hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. Our electric department and the Cable 10 crew, they joined other businesses here in town to demonstrate careers and industries here in town. So we put together a little video about it. So I just wanted y'all to check it out because it was a pretty cool event. It's the first one.
My name is Paola Rowe. I'm the incoming chairman for the chamber, and this year I'm one of the chairpersons for the education board. So the name of the event is Impact, and really what it is the community starts saying we need an opportunity for our kids to be able to engage with the businesses in our community. And then what we were hearing from our businesses is that we needed kids, we're losing all our talent. And so we needed to find an opportunity for these kids to see what can they do in Frankfurt, why is it important, and then opportunities for them to understand, hey, you can start from high school in a good role here in Frankfurt and make good money. And a lot of places, they actually want you to start fresh and they want to train you and pay for that training where you actually don't have to go to college and stuff like that. Not that that's what we don't want kids to do, but it's an opportunity for us to really open the mindset that career can be both academically, but it could also be like a trade job. That was the idea with Impact, is that we wanted to make sure that our kids had an opportunity to touch, feel, ask questions, be part of it, and understand, hey, I can do this.
I'm Crystal. And I'm Abby, and we work at Cable 10, and today we're here at the Chamber's Impact event to show kids what we do. So outside of the trailer, we have a camera and telestrator, which you've been showing kids how to do.
Yep, they've been running the camera and, zooming it in just like we would at a football game, and they've been writing on the telestrator and drawing on what you would see at like live television productions.
And then inside the trailer, we've been showing them how to do like scorebug, replay, directing, and playing commercials.
Events like this are super important to the kids and the community because it allows them to have hands-on experience. They get to actually put their hands on a camera. They get to draw on the telestrator and put their impression on a live television production. And then in the trailer,
yeah, they get to pretty much see what we do. Everything behind the scenes that they don't really know what happens, they get to experience for themselves.
My name's Rick Mason. I'm with the Frankfurt Plant Board and the Electric. Been here for about 18 years, and we like coming out doing this kind of stuff just to give kids, or anybody really, just information on what we do, how we do it.
My name's Scott Aiken, and I'm with the Frankfurt Plant Board Electric, and today we are here at Impact, and we are showing kids around the community what our job and trade is today. We have displays set up around the grounds, and we were showing them how to get prepared for a career if they're interested in it, in this line of work. Some of the displays we have today is a climbing display that shows how we properly install cover-up, and as well as cutout demos to where we show them how to operate a cutout when their power goes out, to kind of give them a little bit more information and to get them into the direction to where if they are interested in this career, that we have pamphlets as well to send them towards the Somerset Lineman School to get them prepared for a career in this trade.
Let me just say thank you, Frankfurt, because this is not possible without you. I'm passionate about our education and our businesses because I live in Frankfurt. My kids go to school here in Frankfurt, and I want them to see that they can make an impact in our community. And so without you being here today, without you seeing the importance to impact our students, we would not be successful. And so thank you for taking part of your day. Thank you for braving the kids. Thank you for being patient, but most of all, thank you for believing in this community that is growing, and this community that sees that education is important. So thank you for your partnership.
Nice job.
Yeah, that was a fun day. I think they ended up having about 625 students there that day. It was all day. And some of the kids got to climb a pole. A lot of them, they loved the cameras and being in the trailer and doing the telestrator and all of that. So it was good just to get that exposure to those kids to see, just the different things that we do and options that they have right here in Frankfurt.
Will we show that any on Cable 10 or?
We showed it on Around 10 the following week. We have it on our website, and it's also on our social media. So in addition to that community event, there are some other things that we're doing throughout the community and some upcoming dates of events, things that we're doing. So I just wanted to let you all know about. This Thursday night, we'll be at Candlelight, November 21st. For the first time, we'll have the Cable 10 crew there, the Around 10 crew. We're going to do a live show from there from 6 to 8. We are in the lobby of the McClure building. The Frankfurt Tourist Commission has invited us to come and set up shop there. Depending on the weather, we're going to be either inside or out. It looks like it's going to be good weather, so they might do it outside. We'll also have the electric department's going to be there with the light board, and another something special, I think, to do with Christmas lights. I've talked to Russ about it today, so we'll see. And then we'll be there handing out LED light bulbs as well. So that's this Thursday. The live show is going to be 6 to 8. We've invited community leaders, fiscal court, city commission, the mayor, county judge, Kelly Everman from DFI, Carmen from the chamber, some members of the board or the tourism board to just drop in anytime if they want to talk about the event itself, things going on around the community. We'll also have a remote camera there highlighting other downtown businesses and things that are going on that night, and talk about also just other events that are going on in Candlelight throughout the weekend. So that's Thursday. December 6th, the FPB administrative staff and KYMEA staff are going to be volunteering at the Access Soup Kitchen. We're going to be serving some food that day on December 6th. December 7th, we are participating in the Christmas parade. Feel free to come out. We're making plans now to have some entries in the parade. And also, for the first time, Cable 10 is going to air it live. So it's a show as well. And we appreciate the extra time that the Cable 10 crews is doing to make that happen. Also, on December 13th, we are hosting Selfies with Santa and Hallmark Movie Night. The CSRs are going to host Santa in the lobby or maybe in here, not quite decided yet, from 4 to 6. We invite parents to bring their kids out. We're going to have cookies, and they always get little gifts to give to the kids who come as well, and they do that. I believe they pay for those gifts and cookies with the money that they get from the vending machine, because they host our vending machine. And then also, to celebrate Hallmark's 10th anniversary of Countdown to Christmas, we invite the community to come watch Hallmark's Christmas at Graceland here in the community room. It's one of the Hallmark movies. We'll be doing that at 6 o'clock. And we're going to have cookies, cider, and popcorn. And
What day is that on? Is that on?
Same day.
Same day.
We're doing it all the same day. Santa starts at 4. The movie starts at 6. So we're going to start promoting that soon. We want to get through Candlelight first, and one event at a time. But we'll start promoting that, and it'll be right here in this room, and it'll be very festive. So last thing I want to show you is in the spirit of community. We're going to start airing a new FPB spot on cable. It's called We Are FPB. So thought y'all might want to check it out.
Nice timing, Scott.
Any questions?
Thank you. That was good.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good. Great. We'd love to see you all at the end.
Number 8, any old or new business anybody needs to bring up? Okay. Number 9, request permission to call for a closed session. Do you have, Hans, you have the specific wording there?
Ask for a motion to call closed session pursuant to KRS 61.810(1)(c) to discuss first pending litigation regarding a reservoir, and second potential litigation regarding a Peaks Mill service issue.
Okay.
Ask for a motion
Okay.
for those
So
items.
Do we have a second?
Thank you.
We're going into closed session?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to come out of special session.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion we come out of special session.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We're now out of special session. The board's taking no action as a result of coming out of special session, but we will have a special meeting on Thursday at 5 o'clock. And at this point, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. We're adjourned.
This program has been brought to you by Cable 10 Community Television as part of the Frankfort Plant Board.